Hey everybody, welcome. This is it. DSC and family. We've been talking about it. A lot of this is not going to be my top 10. It's not going to be our family's top 10. Ours is going to be included, kind of mixed, but it's the community. You guys voted. You guys voted as we went through season 1, season 2, all the way up to season 6. And then we kind of asked for your guys' opinion, and I hit it. We've had over hundreds of comments. So this is it. This is the list. This is Sanford and Son top 10 according to DSCN Family Community. But as we get to this, there are so many different episodes through here. I want to get as quick as I can. Just so you guys know, in this video description, click on that and we will have not the names of the episodes, but we will have highlights, clips from every single one of these episodes on here. You can come find it on our channel. You can find it all over YouTube. But any episode in here that we talk about will be in the video description. So we've taken everything you guys have voted, everything everyone said, the hundreds and hundreds, actually thousands of comments that we've gone through, and let's hit to it right now. Starting with number 10, what else than season 6, episode 24, Fred Sings the Blues. In that one, we know B.B. King's in it. That enough right there should put it at a top 10. It's not the most quality acting by anyone in it. Esther's probably really good, but Fred, Lamont, they seem a little stiff. They're reading their cue cards, you can see. But overall, the episode, it is so memorable. You got B.B. King. You got Fred for Father's Day present. He's excited beyond belief. Anytime you get an episode in there where you have Bubba, Esther, Woody, B.B. King, Lamont, Fred, all of them, and the fact that they jam at the end. Anyone who doesn't know, go look up, but it's in the item description below. But as we go through it, we know that Fred, he has all his idols, right? George Foreman, Red Fox, B.B. King. And as he goes through it in this episode, he gets to meet B.B. King. He's trying to get into his songwriting, right? Oh, Donna, baby, I'll have your money back to you. But we know that, right? How great it is. The episode has so many funny things. From when they go see B.B. King for the first time, how Fred reads the book and he thinks that he actually stole Esther from BB, and then we go find out that it's actually Woody, and then Woody's comments, of course, how Woody, what does that tell you? There's so many funny parts in that episode like that, little clips where you just go, that's hilarious. We did a live stream of it a week ago, and I could not stop laughing if you were part of that live stream. It's one of the best. It is hard to find a moment better than B.B. King, Bubba, who sings incredibly, Esther, she's even ripping it, and Fred, I wish he would have sang a little longer, jamming with B.B. King at the end. So that is number 10. You guys spoke and loved it. I love it. It would definitely be in one of my top 10s. Now, fun fact, this is something that I learned I didn't even know. Did you know that B.B. never actually plays the guitar, doesn't play Lucille when he's actually singing? I never knew that. One of our people in our community, he commented on it and said, hey, that was something B.B. King said it in his book, that he was too nervous to where if he would sing and play at the same time, he might mess something up. And I never caught that. If you actually watch the episode, at the beginning, he's not playing guitar, he's singing. But at the end, when he's jamming, he stops. When he sings, you just see him kind of fake strum it. And then he actually plays when he's not singing. So that was a little fun fact. Very good. Here we go. Number 9, top 10 Sanford and Son history. This is one of my favorite too, A Guest in the Yard. Now on these, we will also give a point as I look all these up on other websites. They actually rank them, like give them 1 out of 10. A Guest in the Yard got 7.9 out of 10. So we know it's really up there. B.B. King episode, 7.9 out of 10 as well. So it holds pat right there. In this one, we know Fred and Lamont, they're in there and they find a homeless guy. At first, Fred thinks that, he kicks the tub when they find the body and he thinks it's a dead white guy in his property. He starts to go crazy. After that, we know they let him stay. Lamont, if anything, Lamont flips out at Fred when he's the one who had the soft spot. Fred's like, good, go kill yourself as long as it's not on my property. Remember that? I actually agreed with Fred on that. Get out of here, go do what you want somewhere else, just don't do it on my property. And then Lamont has the soft spot and then gets mad at Fred because he stays. But he comes in and he touches, oh my gosh. Go down in the description. When he touches his sweet roll, I want to punch Gus right in the face. The fact that he comes in there and Fred gives him water and he still does that drives me absolutely batty. But we know what happens. He ends up hurting his back supposedly. And then Dr. Caldwell comes in to check him and he's filthy and he's like, he can go wash up. And what's Dr. Caldwell's famous line? Always, I don't know. I don't know. You know how many doctors could come here and say they don't know? I don't know. So Caldwell, I mean, you got some of the best in there, but and then at the end, right? Fred finally outsmarts him and he just keep drinking beer, act like he's buddies. Lamont flips out. There's no way this should not be in a top 10. I haven't seen so many people push it, but this was voted enough to where it had to be in the top 10, and I really do enjoy it. I think Fred and Gus, the character Gus in the show, they really go back and forth, and when Fred outsmarts him, that's one of the best moments, right? When Lamont's like, oh, the simplicity, why didn't I think of that? And Fred's like, because you ain't simple-minded, rubbing the suspenders. It doesn't get any, well, actually, it gets better than this 8 times. But as far as Sanford and Son, this has to be one of the best. Any of these, right? Any top 10 that you can think of in Sanford and Son, even top 20, are just like probably better than anything you can find nowadays on TV or entertainment. But yeah, he outsmarts him, right? He's got to get up and go to the bathroom because all that beer he drank. So that is definitely one great one. Now, here is a very cool fun fact. The actor Gus, right? His name is Leon Dunn, D-U-N-N. He was actually in the movie Gus. Remember, I think that came out, 1975, with Don Knotts, that horse, the football-playing horse that can kick. He actually was in that movie, and I just found it ironic that the actor that played Gus was a couple years later in the movie that was called Gus. So that is number 9 in our top 10, A Guest in the Yard. Here we go, number 8 of our top 10, Sanford and Son, and that comes in Rated X. And we know what that one is. That is where Rollo, he wants to get into movies, right? Hey, this is the hot time. Man, the brothers, everybody wants the black actors, and this is a big time. And they got a small budget movie, it looks like, where him and Lamont can get into it. And of course, Fred has to find out, and now he thinks, hey, he can get in there. And then when he goes and he meets at the quote unquote studio, it's like some hole in the wall. And the director comes. The director is one of my favorite, like all the characters in Sanford and Son. I probably got like a dozen where you're like, big money grip, right? Memorable. The director in this is so good. When he sits there and he calls Fred delicious. He's like, wouldn't he be delicious in the harem scene? That just, I cannot stop laughing every time I see that. And then Fred's face, right? He does the double take. And then he gets in there and Lamont and Rollo are all furious because like, what are you doing here? What kind of movie? And maybe Rollo thinks he'll be in the crowd scene. But how Fred says the director thought he was delicious. And then they get arrested, right? It's a rated X movie. It's the police come, they all get arrested. They have nothing to do with it. And then the jail, I mean, that all alone is right there, just top-notch writing and comedy. And then you get to jail where he's in prison and he's got to use the restroom. And he's like, I can't go right there. The toilet's wide open, And Rollo's like, I hope you don't have a short sentence. And then you top it off with Esther. Esther comes in to save him. And we know if you said right now that episode, what would be the biggest thing? Anytime I've talked to anyone in the comments in our community, it's always, keep sucking on that sucker. Shut your mouth, and when I pull your chain, you bark. Everyone always loves that. Keep sucking on that sucker. So that has to be, that Rated X had to be in the top 10. It did get several votes, several notches. And so, yes, let me know in the comments as well. These first few episodes, you guys agree? Did you like Rated X? Is there one that you really have to put in there? Because I have seen some that were pushed that didn't make the top 10. Honestly, one of my all-time favorites is The Masquerade, right? Where they go to, what is it? Anyways, the game show when they go on Wheel and Deal. That's one of my all-time favorite episodes when they sit there and Fred has to try to win. Anyways, that didn't make the list. So one of my favorite didn't make it as well. So sorry about that. But that is number 8, Rated X. Here we go at number 7. Number 7 is a classic that gets talked about a lot in our channel, and that is Lamont, Is That You? And in this one, we know that Bubba goes out on a date while Rollo and Lamont go to a movie. Lamont ends up not liking the movie even though he sees it twice. They go inside a bar, right, just a local bar, and it turns out to be called the Gay Blade. And Bubba sees it, and he's like, oh, holy smokes. And he peeks in there, and we know what happens after that. Rollo and Lamont come out. They don't realize Bubba saw him. And now it's a huge mix-up, right? And so, of course, Bubba goes home, tells Fred, and then Fred and Bubba have to go check the place out to see what's happening. Is Lamont really going to be there? Then we also know what happens. Rollo catches him. So it's a whole bunch of mixed match. One of the best scenes is when Fred's trying to take off and he runs into Rollo and he's like, why do you always hang out with my son? And he's like, that's my man. That's my main man. The reaction to Fred is just one of the reasons this has to be in the top. So many scenes like that. And when you get an episode like this where everything is just kind of crisscross and nobody knows what's going on and everyone has these things, brilliant writing, greatly performed, great job. Yeah, so number 7, Lamont, Is That You? Now, this was, oh man, see, I forgot to say, the last one, the score was A-rated X, 8.4. This one was 8.3. So a little, you know, as far as websites and social media, they have this probably below. But Lamont, Is That You had, on our community, has been pushed more than rated X. And this was season 3. That is a reoccurring theme with all these too. There are a lot of season 3 episodes. I want to say at least maybe 5 of the top 10, could be 4. But almost 50% of the top 10 is season 3. That's how good season 3 was. And we've talked about that on our channel in the past. All right, fun fact about this episode. This is very ironic. Lou Jacoby, he actually was in a play called Norman, Is That You? Right? In the 1970, I want to say. This was what the episode was inspired on. He went on to play almost the Fred Sanford copy in the episode with Steinberg and Son. Remember, he's the actor who plays Fred in the Steinberg and Son. Well, Fred went on to play Lou's character in the movie in 1976, I want to say, where it was called Norman, Is That You? And Fred played the lead role, his character. So they actually got to each play a different role opposite of each other. Like, it's very ironic. Look that up. It's pretty cool. When I saw that, I'm like, hey, that's pretty good. And it pulls back another character from Sanford and Son. So that is it for Lamont, Is That You? Number 7. Here we go, number 6, and just outside the top 5 is Fred's Treasure Garden. Okay, this one has always been talked about. It is one that gets pushed a lot on our channel when we talk about some of the funniest episodes, some of the favorite. It did win season 4, right? This was it. It scored 7.8, right? A little lower as we talked about. Some of the other ones were 8.2, 8.3, 7.8, but people love it. You know, and especially in our community, they really wanted to see this one. Like I said, this won season 4, which is ironic. The 2 finalists for season 4's best episode on our voting poll didn't involve Fred. They were both led by Grady. In this one, Grady, he takes care of Fred's garden, right? We know it. He ends up, Rollo recognizes what they believe to be wild parsley as being marijuana. And so they have no clue. Smitty and Hoppy come by, and Grady makes a nice, great salad, gives it to them, and now they start eating it, and we know how funny that is. And if you've seen it, and that clip is on it'll be posted here. You can go check out that clip. In this, we see the reaction to both police officers, and then Lamont flips out, and he tells Grady, and they're talking about, you know, possibly is this maybe marijuana, and the Hungries and the Munchies, and Grady thinks it's the Munchkins from The Wizard of Oz. I mean, there's so much good stuff in this. Then he wants to try to get rid of the evidence, remember? And Rollo keeps going in there trying to eat it, and I think he ends up putting it in the oven, wants to smoke. It's funny. It's got so many quick action where it's nonstop. Nonstop. That is a very fast-paced, hilarious episode. Rollo, a couple of our commenters even said, hey, Rollo really picks up the slack for the lack of Fred in this episode. Right? Grady does his thing, but Rollo has a lot of lines that you seem like Fred might be saying if he was in the show. Rollo does an outstanding job, not just in the series, but in this episode. This is a really good one for Rollo. In the end, he even tries to give it to Esther, and then Esther recognizes it as wild parsley. But then, yeah, so it's top 6, top 10. It came in at number 6. Season 4 episode, we said it was a season 4 winner, episode 11. And in this one, this is why Fred wasn't there. He was in a contract dispute, right? They'd already filmed 3 episodes. This was one of the 3 in season 4 before Fred came back. Fun fact, Hal Williams, the guy who played Smitty, the police officer, this was his favorite episode he ever filmed. This was it. This was his top episode. So it's good to know Hal Williams' favorite episode did make the top 10 in the DSC and Family community page, poll, blah, blah, blah. Let's get to the next one. Here we go, our top 5, drum roll. Now, in the top 5, this next episode is one to where if I met someone who'd never seen Sanford and Son, right? They'd never seen it. I guess I hate the glare on that with my glasses, but I need to read it sometimes. Anyways, if I have a person who's never seen Sanford and Son, and I can only show them one episode, this next one would be it. This is the one where I feel like And some of them, you don't need to know Fred, you don't need to know Lamont, Grady. They can pop in and humor. The writing is good, the acting is good. But this episode, I feel like you just take the junkyard aside, you take everything aside, and you just get to see Fred and Lamont in just outdoor environment, right? And that is Super Flyer. Easily one of my all-time favorites. It would be in my top 4 for sure. And here in our DSC and family community, it made top 5. Season 3, right? And this got a rating of 8.2, so it's really high up there. But season 3, episode 8. There we go. See, that's why I need the glasses. Anyways, I got to see what of my... Uncle Leotis, right? Uncle Leotis, he ends up passing away, and Fred is going to get some money. They come to visit him, and he's like, hey, fly out to St. Louis, and you can pick up the money, right? And he's going to leave it, and Fred's like, I don't got no Uncle Leotis. And then when he finds out he's getting money, oh, we loved Uncle Leotis pulling the, a classic Fred. And then they get on the plane and the flight. Oh my gosh, there are so many scenes. I mean, where do you start? You start where he was like, hey, Jackie, are you Jackie? Are you Jackie? I guess I don't remember because I was too young to even watch the show. Then I saw Sanford and Son a few in the 80s. But there was a commercial, TWA, where it was like, hi, I'm Jackie, fly me to St. Louis. Because I guess St. Louis was where their main hub was. And so he's asking everyone, who's Jackie, and they don't see him. Then you got the ones where they're talking about the mask, and he wants an oxygen mask. And then he's like, yo, I want an oxygen mask. You want an oxygen mask? He wants an oxygen mask. I want an oxygen mask. I want an emergency exit. Why don't we have emergency? That is like Fred in his absolute beautiful prime. It is Fred being Fred, and there's no wasted scene, no wasted anything. Lamont is perfect Lamont, the way he's playing off him, the straight man, the comedic man, and the way they're going, the banter back and forth. It is top notch. And like I said, if I said it's not number 1, right? Even it wouldn't be my number 1. But this is an episode where I feel like you show it to someone who's never seen the show, it's going to hook them. If it doesn't, they don't have a funny bone in their body, most likely. But then he gets that, and then and then the plane take off, right? And I ain't gonna make it. And the way he's screaming on a plane, can you imagine sitting next to him? It's so good. And then of course, right? He's got the chicken. He finds out he can get anything he wants, and he wants to order his green beans, all his favorite foods. And then he's got the bag with the oily, you could see the grease coming through with the chicken wings, and he wants to give it to the back. And poor Lamont's like, will you just sit down? And then the scene where he says to put out the cigarette. We all know that. And that he gets up. He gets up and he's like, you talking to me? And then Fred says no. He's like, can't you read? And he talks to the guy, it's okay, Moose. And then Fred acts like he's having a heart attack. And he's like, it's okay, Moose. You can watch me have a heart attack. It's perfection. And then he gets to St. Louis, right? And then they misled him. It's to bury him. And Fred just is flaming pissed. And he's like, well, I don't care about this trip to St. Louis. He doesn't even like to fly. And he went all the way out there in that. Yeah, and then he's got the chicken wings, of course, still at the end of the... It is one of the all-time greatest classics. Super Flyer. Let me see. I need my glasses for the fun fact I had. I do know that I didn't know this, but our community did. The guy who plays Moose was a writer for Johnny Carson. I did not know that. So that's something, too, that you guys... I did not know that. Anyway, that's a terrible impersonation. Fun fact. Oh, Norma Miller. Yes, that's what it was. Norma Miller. Remember at the end where Fred says, are you Jackie? And they're like, no, we got Jackie. And they bring her out, and then they open their eyes, and it's Norma Miller. She played Dolly in the episode where Grady was going to remember, that's my Dolly. He met her at JCPenney's. How romantic. And then they ended up not getting married. Well, I didn't know this because I only saw a few episodes of Sanford Arms. Never a big fan of Sanford Arms. They got married in Sanford Arms. So she actually comes back to the series and marries her. This is her, I believe, her first appearance in the series history, but she plays Jackie, she plays Grady's girl, and then they get married in Sanford Arms. I thought that was pretty cool for anyone who does not know or did not watch Sanford Arms. But Super Flyer, that is in at number 5. Number 4, we got our top 4, and in it, this might be a disappointment to some, but I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it because this is one where it's got several classic scenes, and the rest of the episode is funny. It's a great episode. Heck, it's top 4 according to our community. But some people might have this 1 or even 2, and that's Legal Eagle. This is where we know, right? Fred, Legal Eagle, he's going to go out there, and Lamont gets the ticket, right? He yielded to the right of way. He tried to do the right thing, and he flips out, and they're playing checkers, and he destroys the checkerboard, and Fred misunderstands. And then Grady gets his buddy. Oh, my goodness. I apologize. I could retake the scene, but let's just go. That's my cat's jumping in a box. So, anyways, let's get back to it. Sonny Cochran, right? He is one of the best. Remember, like we talked about the director in Rated X, Sonny Cochran. I mean, if you say Sonny Cochran, you're going to automatically be like, oh, is he related to Johnny Cochran? Fun fact about that afterwards. I did not know that till I researched for this episode. But as we go through it, he sits there and he's such a memorable character at just being, right? He's a tailor and he's a lawyer. And except for the why aren't you a lawyer? Who says you're not a lawyer? The state of California. It's a great line. And in that, when he says that, he sits there and tells them, right, if you have 2 tickets and you give 1 more ticket, you know what this means? This is your 3rd ticket. He does it so good, and Grady and Fred going crazy. That part is so memorable and so good. And then we know when they get to the courtroom how Fred calls out the police officer for having no white drivers in there. No, they're not giving tickets, right? Fred, it's only the black people are getting the tickets. And you got Stymie from Right Little Rascals. He's actually there. He's the one who's right behind next to Grady and Bubba. That's a great call. Stymie also appears in, he's Otis. He's in other episodes like the pool, when they're doing the pool and he sells the pool table. He is also in an episode of the show Sanford with Sammy Davis Jr., one of my all-time favorite episodes of Sanford. He has a quick little guest appearance in there where Sammy Davis is there just for a second. He directs that episode. Anyways, I digress. Let's get back to Legal Eagle, number 4. And then Fred calls him out. And my favorite line, I know everyone loves the one scene where he talks to police officer. Funny. It's funny as heck. My favorite is when he's like, a black man don't have a chance down here. And the judge is all black. He's all, yeah, you're the judge. You don't count. And it's so good. So it is a top 5. It's 100% top 10. It's our top 5. It's number 4. Some, I know people have said, hey, this is their number 1 because it has several memorable scenes. But to me, I'm okay with it being number 4. It wouldn't, if it was just my personal list, it would have still been right here. And let's get to our fun fact. Okay, as I talked about, remember I said, Sonny, I didn't know this. A lot of people in the comments when we do these on our videos, they say, oh, is that Johnny Cochran? Oh, was it his grandfather making jokes? They believe that he was named Sonny Cochran, right, because Johnny Cochran. Now, Johnny Cochran was not nationwide known or even world known yet. We know that was from the OJ trial. But in the 80s or in the 70s at this time, he was already a well-known defense lawyer in LA. So they believe that he took that name, Sonny, Johnny Cochran, just on the mere fact of that because it's filmed out there. They know, and Fred lives there. So that is it for number 4, Legal Eagle. All right, if you've still stuck with us, thank you so much. Give a like, give a subscribe, put in the comments what you like, what your episodes are, if you agree or don't agree. If you want to see clips from any of these episodes, scroll down in the video description. I promise you they are in there. Let's get to it without further ado. Number 3, you should know by now, based on our channel, how the combination is going to work out. Number 3, Card Sharps. Yes, Card Sharps, Season 2, this number 6 episode, and it got an 8.3 score. Oh, and what was it? Legal Eagle, that got an 8.6. 8.6. That is the second highest score on the internet when I checked for ratings. Our number 1 was the highest score. So we at least got number 1 right. They had Legal Eagle as number 2, Fred Legal. We got number 3, Card Sharps. Now in this, right, we know Lamont. He comes home, he's got the groceries, he wants to do some things, play cards. Fred's like, what are you doing? And Fred already knows. He knows. He's like, oh, where do you know these guys? This is what I love, especially in the early ones. Later on, at times they made Fred, not that he wasn't smart, but they kind of made him more, he didn't have his savvy that he had in the early seasons, where he had that quick wit, that, hey, street smart. At times it seemed like he didn't have it, and it kind of changed throughout time because he was kind of like a little more goofier. But in this, he's got the street smart, and he even tells Lamont, hey, how much did you win? Lamont's like, how did you know? Because Fred has the street smart and he knows. So they come over and he knows he's like, oh, is that Ugly Matthew's son? And then he gets to meet him, and their outfits are crazy cool, right? They're ridiculous where you almost go, man, it's over the top. And their names are so memorable. I will never forget Skeeter Matthews, Ugly Matthews' son, Rooster. And then the absolute best is Hucklebuck. It's like, just saying Hucklebuck puts a smile on my face. And he's got there, and the way he says it, Hucklebuck, he's all, because I know, and he knew who Skeeter Matthews' son was. or Skeeter Matthews. So they play cards, and Fred is doing it, right? Throw him in, Joe. He's doing everything he can. He's singing songs. He's got the fly swatter. He's sending signals to Lamont. And throughout the whole time, Lamont's ignoring him, right? I know what's best. If you're a parent, come on. We know. The kids always know. That as soon as they hit 13, they know more than us, right? But anyway, so let's get back to it. He's telling him, and Fred's doing whatever he can. He's distracting. He's cutting power to the house. I don't know how Fred did this. He must have went next door or something. But he's calling Lamont on the phone saying, hey, fold, dummy. And then he hangs up, he calls. So great scene. And then we know when Lamont gets to hose, Fred whips it on him, takes off, and he totally pulls a slick move on the guys. And he wins it fast. Lamont comes home and he's like, dude, how'd you win all this stuff? He's got their clothes, the hats, the shoes, their money, oh man, their watches when Fred's looking for the time. It is so good. It is so worthy of being a top 3. Card Sharps was our season 2 on our page. It was the season 2 winner, pretty handily as well, might I add. It was a clear, definitive favorite of a lot of the fans, as well as myself. It is one of those ones where these are the ones where you go, I'll never forget it. You'll never forget. You can almost tell from the beginning to the end, everything that happens, right? There's some episodes you go, oh, I remember those scenes, but you might forget a few parts, right? You might forget they were doing this or that. Card Sharps, you remember the whole thing. Fun fact, and this some of you already know because I do a show called 4 Fun Facts about episodes, characters, whatever it is. Some of you already knew this after from that, but in that show I talk about this. The looks of the 3 poker players, Skeeter, Rooster, and Hucklebuck, were all inspired from the painting called, in 1594, it's an old painting called The Card Sharps. And in it, it's 3 guys playing poker where they're kind of like cheating and they got the feather hats and similar colored outfits. It's outstanding. So that was something when I learned, I had no clue. That was pretty cool. So let's get to our top 2. All right, number 2. Let's get right to it. Coffins for Sale. It is season 1, episode 9. This was one of the most, there was 2 episodes that really got pushed a lot. And Coffins for Sale was so close. On the score, though, it gives it 8.1 online. It's still an 8, right? We've seen the highest was 8.7, 8.6 was second place. We've even seen some 8.3. This was 8.1. But Coffins for Sale, it's season 1, right? And if you don't know, most know, especially in our community, most know Steptoe and Son. That was the original series of British comedy, and Sanford and Son took from it. This episode was actually, anything season 1 was taken from Steptoe and Son. So, but if you've watched that show's great and funny, but I feel like it's 2 different cultures. I feel like it's still 2 different shows, even if the story's the same. I mean, how many stories have been repeated in all sitcoms, right? How many times we've seen I Love Lucy, and then Three's Company do the same thing, and then Sanford and Son do the same thing, and then What's Happening do the same thing. We've seen it all done, but it's all different people, different cultures, different characters, so I don't care that it is. Coffins for Sale is so well done. Lamont brings home 2 coffins, right? He buys them, gets them, $25, he wants to sell them. Fred, being the superstitious guy, no way, get him out, I'm not staying in here. He doesn't even want to back in, and we know Fred says he's not superstitious, but we know he is. Fred, and that's what I love throughout the series. They always made him like that. They didn't change him, at least with that. But in it, he won't do it. He wants nothing to do with it, and he's trying to stay away from it. And he's like, let's sell. He wants to sell him now. Then the Undertaker comes. Cold Hands, Warm Chapel. We know he's awesome. He's amazing, and he offers $30. The funny thing is, he could have actually got $30, right? Only $5 profit. Man, 1972. That's some good coin. $5 profit, I'll take that. I mean, him and Fred could have went out to dinner and went to a movie still on $5. But he ends up not taking it, and he ends up saying, I can get more. I'm going to keep them. And then, of course, one of the best scenes ever is the very first appearance. This is the fun fact as well. This is the very first appearance of Slappy White, that is Red Fox's old vaudeville partner, Melvin. I absolutely love Melvin. From everything I read, Melvin, basically when Bubba came in, he's kind of like the same character. But I never look at him the same. I see Bubba a little more, at times, ignorant, kind of so easygoing. He'll do whatever Fred says, just treats him like a doormat, and he doesn't care. And I can't see Melvin doing that. Fred might insult him, but Melvin will be like, all right, I'm out of here, Fred. And they're 2 different personalities, but I love Melvin's character. He walks in. I cannot think of a character on the show, right, that at least when they first come on, who has a better intro than Melvin? When he walks up, how you doing, Lamont? How you doing, Fred? Goodbye, Fred. Goodbye, Lamont. And he leaves. And the whole audience erupts. And it's so classic, and it's so perfectly timed when he walks in and sees the coffins, because he's superstitious as well. And Fred's like, hey, you're going to chase all my business away. It turns out Fred's going to sleep outside. And Lamont's like, this is ridiculous. How, you don't know anything. You're so dumb with your ridiculous. And then he gets scared. The power goes out. The cat's inside crying. All these little things that are nothing that normally, if there was no coffins, he wouldn't give a second thought. Now all of a sudden he's getting paranoid because his dad. And when he goes out there that one time and touches Fred's shoulder and Fred jumps and scares him when he hits a thing and he's like, you trying to give me a heart attack? And then Lamont's like, all right, forget it. That's it. You're being ridiculous. I'm going to get out here and sleep with you. I'm going to prove to you you're ridiculous. And he lays down and then he's like, you're going to stop being ridiculous. And then when he asks him, are you asleep? And he's like, no. One of my favorite, it's just kind of a quick line when he's like, no, I'm checking the back of my eyelids for cracks. When Fred says that, that's such a good line. Coffins for Sale easily could have been number 1. It was the best voted for season 1. If you haven't seen it, if you're new to Sanford Center, you've only seen a handful of episodes, you got a lot of catching up to do, and this is a great list to start with. Okay, so Coffins for Sale was, like we said, 8.1. Season 1, that was number 2. Let's get to number 1. Here we go. Season 3, the number 1 episode, we know this. What is it? What do you guys think? Mama's Baby, Papa's Maybe. There is no way on this planet anyone who makes a list of Sanford and Son top 10 and does not put Mama's Baby, Papa's Maybe number 1. Maybe you could, I don't even think, but maybe you could say, you know what, I really love this one, or I really love Legal Eagle, and I'm going to slide that to 2. I would say, okay, I could see that, but I can't see most lists. This has to be number 1. It's the highest rated, 8.7 online. In this episode, we know what happens, right? Big Money Grip with the swivel hips. He is so memorable. Our channel even did a little 4 fun facts on Sonny Jim Gaines, the actor who played Big Money Grip. He is one of the most memorable characters. He comes in, Grady is scared, so scared to tell Fred, oh man, I don't know. And Fred's about to pound him. Then he's saying, he says that Lamont's his son. And then when he comes in and meets him and Fred's laughing like, Grady's, you tricked him, you got him. And he's like, no, Lamont is my son. The fact that Fred gets Esther, he knows when he brings in Esther that Esther ain't going to fly. She ain't going to fly with that. And this episode, I mean, honestly, I could probably I've already made 4 YouTube shorts on these, and they're the most popular. They are, without a doubt, you could see why. But on these, the way that goes, you could probably make about 8 or 9 YouTube shorts. The episode is just pure gold. It won season 3, not when we did the voting. It won, but I'm trying to remember what was right behind it. I don't even think Legal Eagle was behind it. I thought it was a different episode. Anyways, who cares? Let's get back to this. And then he gets Esther, and Esther comes over, and he asks, did she ever dilly-dally? How could you not love that? I mean, I guess you do. Love that line. That is nothing. I cannot think. There are so many scenes where Esther cracks me up with all her sucka and all her lines. And when she sits there and goes, what's a dilly-dally? And the way she says, what's a dilly-dally? I don't think any human can do it justice. She does so outstanding. It's beyond comical. I can watch it 10 times in a row. Right? I watch the clips that our channel makes, and it cracks me up. I'm making the clips, and it's cracking me up. And that's how much love this show has. And when she does that, and Fred, right? And then he sits there and says, well, who was doing the driving, right? She's pure as the driven snow. And then when he comes in and she gets up, she's ready to knock him out, right? When he says, Lamont is my son. And she's not having that. And that it shows the roots of family. It shows the root, we'll get to everything that the episode involves. And then she gets up and she's like, let's beat the hell out, she's like, Fred, let's beat the hell out. You get Fred and Esther together, that is gold. Only a handful of times did it ever happen in the series. And when they are on the same team, it's one of the best. And when she does that, and Fred and Esther and Grip is doing these, he's really fast. He's trying to stay between them. Lamont comes in and probably saves him because Esther would have kicked his butt. And then you get one of the most emotional, I know some people have mentioned, the episode where he's going to propose to Donna and he talks to Elizabeth and he's actually crying. It just shows how great. When Red Fox does that scene, he is outstanding. He shows his range as a dramatic actor, a comedic actor, and it's believable when he does that. And but I get teary-eyed every time I watch that scene, being a father myself, and when Lamont says, hey, I don't care about this house, this business. I care about you. You're my pop. I only got one pop. And he's like, whatever you did, whatever you say, that's between you and my mom. I ain't nothing to do with that. When he says that to Grip, man, that is so heart gripping. And then you see Fred and Esther wiping their eyes, and then it gets into full mode where, hey, let's lay it. And Esther's like, no, don't be talking about it. And then we find out it was Grip going to Esther's room, and you're just like, what? Where did that come from? I mean, it's just some of the best writing, some of the best. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Because like I said, it has emotions from all angles, right? And comedy everywhere. There is no way, to me, I will always have this as the #1 episode. And I would say most fans do, because on our channel, that's it, on the community. But that's it. Fun fact, I don't have any fun facts, just the fact that the episode was just money. And we could see it. Go down in the comments, you'll see I have 1 through 10 with... where you can actually check the clips, the clips. I'm not going to list the names because I want you to have to actually watch it or go on it to see what is the top 10. But that is our top 10. Let me know in the comments if you agree, disagree. If you made it this far, awesome. I have a bonus for you if you made it this far, so thank you very much. You can even say, hey, thanks for the bonus, then I know you made it to the end. But the bonus, the one episode I just didn't make crack the top 10, number 11, was My Fair Esther. In that one, remember I just mentioned how Esther and Fred, when they team up, they're together. Fred in that one, remember he wants to get the money, right? Woody will get the publicity, and Esther can win, and he has to help her turn her in from this, woman he always calls an old nasty-looking, hag, a goat, whatever you want to call her. And he's going to turn in this beauty. And when they do, it's so good when they sing together, and when he's trying to help her, and yeah, it's that one that got voted a lot. That was so close to winning that season. I want to say season 5, but yeah. So that was it. That's the bonus right there. That to me, that was just almost snuck into top 10. I know funny wise, it's got its funny moments, but it's also very touching. Anytime, like I said, you get Esther and Fred together. So that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I got other episodes coming up with Sanford and Son. Our channel has a lot of things. So if you see other things, movie reviews, product reviews, my son baseball, we do all sorts of things. Just so you know, if you enjoy that, cool, stick around, you'll get more. But it's always going to have Sanford and Son. So if you enjoy Sanford and Son, you're always going to get it, because that's one of my favorite things, and I love talking with our community with you guys. So enjoy, be safe, and talk to you guys later. Peace.